Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to do another top 10 horror films, and this will be my top 10 horror films from the 1990s. And I've done some other videos for the 70s and the 80s, and there was a comment in the last video asking if I plan to do a 90s edition, so here we go. The first one is this Tim Burton film, Sleepy Hollow, and this happens to be, I guess, what you would call a digibook edition of it. This has a book inside it, a 40-page book of the Washington Irving classic story. Of course, this is the story of Ichabod Crane, an eccentric investigator determined to stop the murderous Headless Horseman. So on the back you can see too there's a few special features here. The commentary by director Tim Burton, Sleepy Hollow Behind the Legend, and reflections on Sleepy Hollow. And I don't have too many of these digibooks, but this is kind of cool on the inside here too. You can see the book and again, some great artwork here, and just to again show a little bit of the inside of it. Let me know in the comments below if you have some favorite digibooks, and because again I don't have too many of these, but they are kind of cool. And this one has kind of a cardboard cover, but it seems very metallic on the outside of it. So that's the first one. Again, these are in no particular order, but these will be 10 films from the 90s that I really enjoy, horror films from the 90s. The next one, I really can't leave this out. This would be Scream. This happens to be the 3-movie collection, and I guess I can count Scream 1 and 2 because those were in the 90s. This happens to be the collector set, which I think is still available with Scream 1 and 2. And so I just really like this particular franchise. I know there's been a trailer out for the new Scream 5, the next one coming out next year, I think. So I really love this particular franchise. I particularly like the original Scream, and Scream 4 I think is really a great film as well. But for this particular video, Scream 1 and 2 would be on my list. This next one I just picked up, and this is a collector's edition of Tales from the Dark Side, the movie. This is a Scream Factory release. There's the back of that one with some special features. I love these Scream Factory releases, and this one also has a slipcover on it. I haven't opened it, I just received this one. This one has new interviews with director John Harrison and the producer Mitchell Galen and more, and audio commentary with John Harrison and the co-screenwriter George Romero, which is really great. Theatrical trailer and some TV spots. So this one's on the top of my list also, and I was happy to pick this one up this year to add to my horror collection. By the way, on the channel too, there is a complete, my complete horror collection. I'll link that video in the description below. It doesn't have some of the newer films that I have, but it's for the most part fairly complete. This next one is a great horror film that I watched last year and hadn't seen in a long time, The Craft, which is one of my favorite horror films. It really seems to hold up too from the 90s. I really like it. This has some special features, a director's commentary, Conjuring the Craft, the original behind the scenes of The Craft. So highly recommend this one if you're into 90s horror. This is really good. Of course, there were remakes of this movie, but this is the original version of Stephen King's It, which was released in the 90s. And this one I got at Barnes & Noble, as you can see, on discount. Haven't opened it up, but I've seen it before. And so I'm happy to have this one in the collection. I don't have the Blu-ray, this one, I have the DVD. Sometimes the DVD is just fine for films and TV shows, and this happens to be one that I haven't upgraded. This one has a special feature-length audio commentary by Dennis Christopher, Tim Reed, John Ritter, Richard Thomas, and director Tommy Lee Wallace. So it's nice to see that on a DVD as well. I know there's a collector's edition of this also, but I haven't upgraded it. This is a double feature House. I'm going to just say the first House, but I think House 2 was also released in the 90s. But I really enjoyed this particular horror film. House is really great. Apologies for the glare there. I'll see if I can get it so that it is not so glary, I suppose. And there's the back of that one with the 2 movies on it. Now, there's a box set of this one too, which is a really beautiful box set, which I do not have, but this is a DVD set. House and House 2. Also another DVD set. I realize also doing these top 10s that I need to do some upgrading on these. Again, DVD is fine, but my preference is Blu-ray plus a digital copy, or 4K Blu-ray digital copy. That'll be my preference at this point. But this would be the first Deep Blue Sea. I love shark movies, as you know, probably from watching the channel. So Deep Blue Sea was released in the 1990s, and so I'm going to count that as a horror movie. And I love movies about sharks, and this is one of my favorites. So Deep Blue Sea, I think it is a pretty decent shark movie. Next in the Halloween franchise, one of the sequels that I like in the franchise is Halloween H2O, or Halloween H20. I always say H2O. I'm not really sure why, but it's 20 years later is what it is. 1998, and this happens to be a 3-disc release. I know there's new versions of these out, at least the first 5 films on 4K. I've yet to pick those up. Let me know in the comments below if you picked up the 4Ks, whether you like them, whether you recommend them. That would be great. Halloween H20, that's what it is. Halloween H20. As much as I remind myself, I'm still saying H2O. But I really like this one, and of course Jamie Lee Curtis is in it. And so these are all on DVD, which is, again, completely fine, but I do need to upgrade at some point. And getting down to the last couple, this is one of my absolute favorite movies. I think I talked about Stephen King a little bit in the last video, and this one happens to be another great collaboration between Stephen King and director Rob Reiner for Misery, one of my absolute favorite horror movies. Kathy Bates, James Caan, how could you go wrong there? Such a great combo in this one. It's very terrifying, as you might imagine, and I've seen this one a number of different times. I love the slipcover on top of this, so that is definitely very satisfying, and it's got special features. This is a Scream Factory release. This has an interview with director Rob Reiner, an interview with makeup effects artist Greg Nicotero, which of course you know from The Walking Dead. Audio commentary with Rob Reiner, audio commentary with screenwriter William Goldman, Misery Loves Company featurette. I mean, this has so many extra features on it, and I just love this movie. It's so horrifying. Kathy Bates is so scary in this movie. And of course, James Caan, anything he does, I really enjoy. So this is an amazing film if you haven't seen this already. And I believe this particular release is still out there. And finally, how could you go wrong with one of the classic horror films of the 90s, The Silence of the Lambs? And this is the Criterion release of The Silence of the Lambs. And this happens to be this is early in the collection. Spine number 13, if you can believe that. And there's the back of that one. I've had this one for a long time. This is probably one of the first Criterions I picked up. And it has so many extra features on it. It has an audio commentary from 1994 featuring director Jonathan Demme, actors Jodie Foster and Anthony Hopkins, the screenwriter Ted Talley, and former FBI agent John Douglas. New interviews, 38 minutes of deleted scenes, interview from 2005 with Demme and Foster, 4 documentaries featuring hours of interviews. I know there's a new release too from Best Buy of Silence of the Lambs, but for my money, this one is absolutely perfect. I love this release. I think it's one of the best Criterion releases out there. Criterion just had a flash sale, for a 24-hour flash sale, and I picked up a few things there, but I'm hoping that Barnes & Noble will be doing their sale pretty soon for the month of November, so we'll see when that schedule comes out. But if you don't have this one, again, highly recommend it. Highly recommend this release if there's a sale. Again, coming next month, any Criterion sale, this is a great one to pick up. So that will do it for my top 10 horror films of the 1990s. I've been really enjoying this. Again, top 10 lists are so difficult to do, and there's so many films out there. Let me know in the comments below if there's a film that you think should be included in my top 10, maybe one that I haven't seen before. I love suggestions and recommendations, so feel free to leave me a comment below or a question. Thanks so much for watching this video today. I so appreciate it. If you like the video, click on like. If you haven't subscribed to my channel already, please do subscribe. That would be awesome. I sincerely hope that everyone is safe and well, and I'll talk to you soon.